I have members of, you guys Tea Party or 912 Project? What are you? 912, okay. I started the 912 Project. It was actually 2 years ago. Can you believe it's been 2 years? 2 years ago we started the 912 Project. I recommended it on the air and you guys took it and it just went crazy. And there are 912 projects all over the country now. And I called you guys in, as you know, I'm not anybody's leader or anything else. I have a suggestion for you. And I wanted to talk to you about who believes that these people that I just played the tapes are dead serious of collapsing the economy of the United States? Okay. I wish you guys were in the DOJ. Who believes that even if they don't do any of this stuff, that somebody else, Al-Qaeda, or just our own stupidity or greed will lead to a financial collapse? Okay, good. I mean, not good, but you know what I mean. All right, so here's the thing. We learned a lot from Japan. Let's have a little exercise here of what we learned from Japan. What is saving the people of Japan right now? Honor.
Honor. Love for country.
Respect.
Honor.
Community.
Respect.
Order.
Order. Discipline. Character.
Generosity.
Honor. Generosity. How about, because really, honor and respect and order, generosity, that's charity.
You are lawyers.
Fewer lawyers, that's good. But let's get into something more tangible. These are nice, but what else?
Family-oriented.
Their families.
Love the country. Love for country.
Something tangible.
Preparedness.
Tangible. Preparedness in what? They need food, water. How about communication?
Tsunami warning.
Shelter. Great. Warning. Does anybody remember, and see if you can throw this up in this old TV, when we were little, at least when I was little, I haven't been little in a long time, but does anybody remember the EBS warnings? They look like this. Can you play that down here?
This is a test. For the next 60 seconds, this station will conduct a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test.
Okay. This is actually before EBS. This is a civil defense test. This is when we thought the missiles were going to come over the polar cap. And I loved this system because I'm in radio. I was in radio when I was 13 and we used to do these tests. And I lived out in Washington State. And when I found out how the EBS system worked at the time, I about wet my pants. The EBS system was tripped, and it required a network. And what would happen is one flagship station would trip the EBS in Washington, D.C. And then like a tree, it would go to the next station and the next station and the next station, and they would all have to trip those tests. Well, and I'm pulling this off the top of my head, but I remember the missiles came in 12 minutes to impact. EBS system was like 2.5 hours to get all the way across. There's just no way it would have worked. But we did it, and we were prepared. That gave me an idea on a couple of things. First of all, how many have any kind of food storage? Good for you. Good for you. How many people have been told they're absolutely out of their mind for doing it? Yes. And you did it anyway. So you know you have food. How many have... Because the idea that I've said on this program is to be a help to others. How many have more than you, how many of you have more than you need because you plan on being a shelter for others? Good for you. I want to go to communication and warning, and then hope, love, and charity. And I want to give you an idea and ask you to help. We'll do that next. We're back with an audience full of 912ers today because I want to ask your help on something. We learned from Japan, be prepared. I get hammered all the time for talking about preparedness. I'd rather be wrong and all of us have too much to eat than be right, believe me. In a time of crisis, if somebody's trying to create chaos, they are trying to create a system of fear, anger, and confusion. Why? Because they can shove people into their answer. They are looking for people to be desperate for an answer. The only way to solve this is to not have people be desperate for an answer. We can't stop a financial crisis. We can't stop if somebody wants Al-Qaeda or somebody else. The government, maybe, but we have to be right every single time. And it looks like nobody's even, I mean, it looks like people are on vacation at the DOJ sometimes. We have to be right every single time. It's impossible. It's impossible. The longer the timeline, the more likely it is that something along the way will disrupt. So why not be prepared and make sure we can minimize the fear, the anger, and the confusion? The opposite of this chaos is hope, where someone has answers and it's calm to give you time to think and shelter. It's what Hoover called, was it Hoover or Coolidge? Does anybody know? Normalcy. A period of normalcy. They will try to find the illusion of normalcy. That's why I'm going to ask you to do this. First, food. Do not be beholden to any man. If a supply line breaks down in this country, you've got about 3 days. Well, who even knows how to grow food, for the love of Pete? If something happened where something was majorly disrupted from a bombing or something else, I don't know how to grow food, do you? A friend of mine told me the other day, you know, Glenn, I've been listening to you. I think you're right. She lives here in New York, and that's why I'm gonna start growing tomatoes on my apartment balcony. And I said, here in New York? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, good. Then they'll come up in the riots and eat you, and then eat your tomatoes. What are you thinking? 4 tomatoes is not food storage. The next is know the truth. I've asked you, enlighten yourself. Know what's worth dying for. Know what's worth living for. Educate yourself. Most people don't even know the Constitution. Empower yourself. And be creative. Be the creative force, not a destructive force. So know the answers, because people will be in chaos. They don't know what's happening. I guarantee you, and I swear to you now, if you're watching this show and you come up into me in the streets in chaos and you say, when did this happen? Or my favorite, how did this happen? You're going to be lucky not to get a punch in the face. It's happening right now. So you have to know the answers. But there's 3 more steps I want you to take. Next. I want to tell you real quick, 3 other things. Write this down. You need to be trustworthy. You need to be connected. That's why connect. Phone trees, the EBS system. Connect with each other so if there's a problem, you can check on one another. And be visible. This is what I want to ask you to do. And you'll find more information on this at my website. Not today because I didn't prepare. April 21st is a Thursday. I want you to be a flash mob. We have to be visible. Go just write on your t-shirt 912 Project or whatever. You have to be a visible force for good, because people are going to be pushing and you have to know the difference between good and evil. I want you to be a flash mob. Here's what I want you to do. On that day, I want you to collect canned goods or whatever you can at work and get bags and get a group of people together. And on that day, I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's the unemployment line. I don't care if it's a soup kitchen. Go where people are going for somebody to give them a hand, especially government. And people that in the unemployment line are desperate and hungry. Some of them have given up hope. I have been unemployed for a year. It's tough. And I want you to go in with a whole group of people with a bag of groceries. And I want you to walk up to one individual and just hand it to them. And just say, brother, I love you. Take this and don't you dare give up. Don't you dare give up. There's a lot of people who are praying for you every night. And leave. Flash mob all over the country. You have to, I'd like to roll out once a month. We do something as a group, and that doesn't have to come from me, but you get on the sites and 912 Project or Freedom Connector or the meet up, and you coordinate with each other, and you make an impression of goodness in your community. Because right now, there's a lot of confusion coming. And there's a lot of people that are going to be vying for that space. You must be known as a trustworthy individual, as somebody that is honorable, somebody that does the right thing at their own expense, takes the time and actually has real compassion for people. Too many times, people at tea parties, oh, you just want people to starve. No, you don't. No, you don't. Be a good Samaritan. A good Samaritan. So if I could ask you on April 21st, and I'm just going to make this suggestion, and then you take it from here, and you decide as a group all over the country, you decide what you want to do, and then do it, but be a force for good, because there's enough forces of evil out there. Back in a minute. On Friday's show, the Fed. Gee, I'm trying to figure out which chalkboard the Fed belongs. I think probably, what do you think? You decide. Friday night from New York. Good night, America.